I'm Gretchen Schott, and this is Made for Impact, a show for leaders who want to leave a lasting impact on their organizations, their teams, and their lives. This is Made for Impact, a show about people wanting to leave a lasting mark on their organizations, their teams, and their lives. People feeling called to leadership, feeling called to something more. I'm your host, Gretchen Schott, and as your leadership professor, the lesson I want to talk about this week is servant leadership. Now, I define servant leadership as a competency in leadership in the following ways. I define it as acting in the best interest of your environment, your community, and society. Pretty simple. But within that competency, I believe there are very specific skills that we get better at when we are practicing servant leadership. Skills like empathy, compassion, ethical decision-making, empowerment, social responsibility. And there are lots of ways in which we can serve. There are lots of ways that we can demonstrate this in our work environment, and there are lots of ways that we can demonstrate it in our home life and in our community, right? And so there are physical things that we can do to be a servant leader. That might be going and building something for someone, or cooking for someone, or moving items from one place to another, like serving in that way. There are ways that we can serve using our brains and our mental capacity, right? So mentoring other people, providing our very specific knowledge in a specific area, right? Sometimes the best way that we can serve is just by being present, holding space with somebody, sitting with someone, holding their hand, listening, maybe reading something for them or to them, just being present without distraction in that moment. So all of those are ways in which I think about how we can show up demonstrating servant leadership. Sometimes it's really easy if we start this journey younger, right? We sometimes think about serving as a way for us to give back as individuals. And I know for myself, when I thought about being a servant leader, that I felt were really important to do for my own self, but I recognized that it was important for me to bring my children along in that journey too. And so serving with my children allows them to have this mindset now of giving back and of thinking of others before they think of themselves. I think sometimes when we think about things at work, we don't always think about, like, how can I include my family in what I'm doing? How can what I'm doing at work teach lessons in my family? And those lessons that I'm teaching my family, how do those then feed back into what I know about work? The relationships that we have with our family and how we show up can lend assistance to how we could perhaps show up differently, sometimes better, with relationships at work. Sometimes at work, we can think about how we engage, and we might be able to take those same ideas and make them at home. And as we continue to learn about ourselves, what we need, and how that benefits our family, and how that benefit to our family benefits our business, and how that also leads us to be just better citizens in our community. And the more that I learn about the community that I live and I work in, well, it inspires me to learn more about myself and things that I didn't know. And so how can I take that and build? So I think of our leadership and the way in which we grow is kind of like this infinity loop, that there's always opportunity for us to be learning and applying and then coming back and learning more. Few people would say that servant leadership is not good or healthy, but I do think that there is one way in which servant leadership becomes unhealthy, and that's when we look at servant leadership in the way of achievement or from a status standpoint. If we are serving just for the point of saying that we serve, we can lose sight of the fact of why we wanted to be servant leaders in the first place, that go against perhaps our own personal values and our own beliefs. And so if you're listening to this and now you're starting to question, like, well, maybe am I serving for the right reasons, right? I have an exercise that might help with that. And so what I want to invite you to do is I want you to create a mind map. And if you're not familiar with what a mind map is, it's basically a diagram for you to take all those big thoughts out of your brain and put them on paper so that you can look at it and kind of analyze it and see kind of where things are and what you can do with that. And so I want you in the middle of a page, take a piece of paper, in the middle of the page, I want you to write the word servant leadership, or maybe write ways in which I serve. And then I want you to circle that, put that in the middle of a paper and circle that. And then I want you to think about categories of ways in which you do serve. Fundraising might be a topic, and put a circle around that. Maybe it's organizing, put a circle around that. Maybe it's mentoring, put a circle around that. Think about all those different how you serve, all those ways in how you serve. And then once you've looked at those categories, then I want you to think about, what do you do, right? So if fundraising is one of the things that you do, like, what do you do for fundraising? You raise money for your kids' athletic team, right? Or you sit on a board for a cause that you care about, right? Maybe advocacy might even be like another category for you. What are the things that you actually do? I find sponsors, I write a check, I sit on a committee. And as you start thinking about the what's, write those down and start creating links around where all of those what you do looks at the how that you do of serving. And once you have that written down, take a look at that. And then ask yourself, how is this helping me grow as a leader? How is what I'm doing helping me become the best version of myself, the best me that I can be? And anything that you're doing that doesn't help inform you of how to be a better version of you, of how to contribute to your family, even maybe how to contribute to your business, are probably things that you could let go of and not focus on for right now. But look at all that you are doing and ask yourself, are you making the impact as a leader that you want? And if you're doing something just because you've always done it, or if you're doing something because somebody guilted you into doing it and you feel obliged to do it, or you did it once and you just keep doing it, but you actually aren't growing as a result of that, you're not seeing that you are transforming your behavior or you're helping transform the behavior of others, I invite you to think about, like, why are you continuing to spend time doing that? How is that allowing you to act in the best interest of your society, of your community, of where you work? How is that helping you hone your skills of empathy, compassion, collaboration, social responsibility, ethical decision-making? If it's not, then just stop doing it and invest in that time in doing those things that will help you become your best self, help you to serve in other ways. So we have recorded over 50 episodes of this show, if you can believe it. And I would love to hear from you what the next 50 episodes should focus on. What are those leadership challenges or problems that you experience that are not allowing you to make the impact that you want in your work, in your business, in your life? And we can talk about it on the show. I'd love to hear from you. I'm also still looking for people to give me stars and reviews so I can continue to get great guests, master classes for you to learn more. I'd love to hear what part of this servant leadership episode kind of resonated with you. If you create your mind map, I'd love it if you'd share it with me. I think it'd be fascinating to see all the different ways in which you're serving. But most importantly, I want you to remember that you are made for impact.